Alright guys, my name is Chris Gutierrez with Metro Valley Ambulance. I'm a longtime paramedic and diesel mechanic, and I'm going to show you these two matching 2003 Ford E450 Powerstroke with the 7.3 liter motor. If you're a fan of the 7.3 liter, that's probably why you're looking at this video. This one on the right, it has 153,000 miles. The one on the left over there has 187,000 miles. They don't need anything. They're deployment ready. Every little thing works down to the last little bulb or whatever. Everything works. So I'm going to give you I'm losing light. You can probably tell it's a little low angle on the sun there. We're going to do a walk around tour of each one. We're going to go inside of each one. We're going to try to squeeze in a test drive for each one, and we'll see how that goes. So here is the driver's side. You can see the paint is in immaculate condition. There is absolutely no sign that any graphics were ever on here. So, you know, a lot of times you buy a used ambulance, you can see what it used to say, which is a bummer, because then you usually have to paint it, you know, so you don't see what someone's ambulance company was or fire department was underneath your graphics. That won't happen here. You can't see anything. We polished it. It's super clean, and no evidence of anything anywhere what it used to say. So you can see the chrome is in really great condition. And it's tight squeezed back there, so I'm going to have to go around the front. And I guess I'll do them individually. So we'll just do this guy first. Here's the passenger side. And I had the doors open because I was just taking pictures, so we'll get a sneak preview of the back. It's dark in there because the engine isn't running. Let me fire up the engine, then we'll climb inside, start going through. Well, actually, let's go through the exterior compartments first. So out here is the oxygen compartment. This is set up for an M tank. The regulator is here. You'll see that there's two lines here. There's a high pressure line and the low pressure line. There's a high pressure line on the regulator because there's a gauge on the action wall inside, so you can see exactly how much oxygen you have remaining from inside, so you don't have to come out here and look at that. Here's a space for whatever you want to do, restock supplies, extrication tools. Right there, it's set up for, that's a rack for a Life Pack 10. So Life Pack 10. So if you don't use a Life Pack 10, you probably don't. You can take that out. So that's what that's there. There's the backboard compartment. Pretty roomy. You'll see there's a couple of shelves in there for headbeds and seat collars and stuff. There's a divider. It's big enough. If you have a scoop stretcher, that will fit in there. You can put a folding flat in there. You could probably fit about 4 or 5 backboards in there. It's pretty roomy. And then there's the back. We'll get in there in a minute. Over here, if you're a fire department, you could put your turnouts over in that compartment there, or just have extra supplies there. Down here is a space where you could put, this is where SCBA tanks were. The racks have been removed. There is a rack for 3 D tanks, oxygen D tanks. So you can see there's like a little, right there, you just do that wing nut, you pull it open, you can put 3 tanks in there, close it up, they won't move around. There's that. Here's for your jump bag, monitor, portable suction, all the stuff you're going to take into your rescue would be in this compartment over here. Or if you have your monitor for the other side, however you want to do it. So there's that. There's 3 batteries, a slide out tray down there. There's Odyssey batteries, deep cell. Those are like $350 a piece. So there's $1,000 in batteries right there. Plus, because it's 7.3, it does have a battery under the hood. The 6.0 does not. So there's that. Let me fire it up. We'll get in the back. We'll start going over all the buttons and everything in the back. And here's the inside. We're gonna get in here in a minute. I'm just worried about the sun situation. I don't want to do a test drive in the dark. All right, so back here we've got there's our jump seat. The jump seat swivels around. It's on a pedestal, so you can pull a latch and make it face forward if you want to. It also has an integrated child seat there. Let me turn up all the lights. Okay, so we have the lights on high on both sides. By default, if you just open the rear doors, just this row of lights come on, and it's on low. So there's the high, and I'll just do the, whoops, there's this side. That's the low. You can see the difference there. There's high, there's low. Over there, there's low and off. So we'll leave them on high for now. So let me just go over. Above the rear doors, you can see there is a cabinet. It's the perfect size for extra gloves. Glove boxes fit in there great. There's a compartment above the bench seat over there. There's a hand sanitizer over there. There's cabinets over here. These shelves in the middle are adjustable, so you can adjust them. You can divide up the space however you want. There's two big drawers, and then a small place for typically restraints and extra belts. So you could make dividers and do whatever you want with those drawers. But this is pretty shallow, so most guys use that for soft restraints or extra belts. Here's the CPR seat over here. If you want more counter space, that will go down, but there's a pretty generous amount of counter space already, so I don't really think you would need to do that. Underneath the CPR seat is a shallow space. You could put like emesis basins, bedpans, all the stuff you hope that you never have to use under there. There's a lockable narcotics locker right here. I have the key for that. There's that. There's another huge spot above the counter, and then there's one below, typically for BVM and cannulas, masks, stuff like that. And then there's ALS wall, and all that stuff is accessible from that side door. There is a drawer right there. You can put whatever you want there, and then this is large enough so you can put a file rack in there, and you can put patient care reports, whatever kind of forms your department or agency might carry. Up here, I'll get into this a little more in a second. There's all the electronics. There's the relay board. And I should mention this is a wheeled coach, which is a big deal because their electronics are really simple. I've never had a relay board go out in a wheeled coach, and I probably owned about 150 wheeled coach ambulances. So they're very, very reliable. Most of those parts you can buy at any auto parts store. O'Reilly, Pep Boys, AutoZone, and that includes even these switches right there. Those are South Coast switches. They're like 12 bucks, and they go bad periodically. I know, like, I've had road rescue ambulances and Hortons that have a real beautiful digital panel where the dome lights and the suction and the exhaust vent, all that stuff's tied into it. But if one of those buttons goes bad, that whole panel is bad. And typically those things are $5,000–6,000 bucks to replace if they still make them. So you know, if one of these switches goes bad, the worst case scenario, it's 12 bucks. And you can always just swap out the switch if you never use, you know, your exhaust vent, for example. If you need to replace that for suction or something else, you can totally do that, you know, while you're waiting for your switch. So your unit's not out of service or whatnot. So anyway, there's that. Let's go back into this stuff. So we did the lights, our patient heat or cool. You can probably hear it. It comes out of that vent right there. And there's a speed selector. So low is, you can barely hear it. So that's low. Medium, that's medium. I have the back doors open too. You can, it's probably distracting. That's high. So there's that, and then turn that off so you can hear me. And then the exhaust fan. You can see over there. There's two actually. There's one right there, and then there's one there too. So I I don't know, something bad happens back here and you can't stand the smell, you can get it out lickety split. There's that. We got the suction. You'll see there's the suction regulator right there. The suction canisters over here. I'll put my finger over the, see that? And then that knob, you can adjust it if you want to increase it. It's pretty much right where it needs to be though. There's that. And then it's got, you know, power door locks that you can control from back here. If you see a family member running up to your back doors and you don't want them back here, you can lock them out. So there's that. And then there's a fluorescent light here. You know what? It doesn't want to go on. You know what? Usually all that's required when that happens, oh, it's not seated right, I don't think. That one's seated right. Well, you know what, they may be burned out because I can see some black right there. Well, the other one, it does work. You can actually get these little tubes at Home Depot, but that's kind of cool if you just want to keep, you know, you're working on your patient care report and the patient doesn't want the lights on, you can just use that if you want. Sharps container right there. You have 2 outlets for your oxygen. I don't have extra airflow meters to include. I am giving you the suction regulator, but I don't have that. You know, you'll see here there isn't an oxygen tank out there. If there was, you'd see, you know, 2,000 pounds or whatever's in the tank, and you'll see it has emergency bypass, so it's off. When it's in the off position, if you want the air to flow, you have to hit the oxygen button. If you don't want to deal with the button, you just leave this to on and it'll always flow as soon as you open up your airflow meter. But it's kind of handy to be able to just turn the whole tank off from here, especially if you're like a volunteer fire department. If you don't want a lot of calls and you're worried about bleeding your tank out, you can just use this system and not have to worry about, is the house tank on? It shuts it off at the house. So there's that. The radios are non-operable, and the mics, and I mean, you could make this stuff work. There's the speakers and handsets and all that stuff there. But the brain of the radio, the heart of the radio has been removed. So these things, you know, don't power up. But you know, just so there isn't holes here, I'm just letting it go with the ambulance because I don't need this stuff. And then there's the thermostat. This air conditioning system and the heater is independent from the front. A lot of ambulances, especially Type 2s, they work off of the, you know, if it's a Ford, off of the Ford AC and heat. So you still use the climate control from the front is your thermostat. This is completely independent, so your partner up in front can have the heat blast and you can have ice cold air conditioning back here. There's your thermostat. There's a timer for the lights. If you're pulling up to the hospital, you want to start shutting everything down, you can put your lights on a timer up to a minute and it'll shut them off automatically. So I think we've just about covered. There's a big beefy armrest if you want to put it up or put it down just to keep you from flying into the cabinets if your partner hits the brakes. The bench seat's nice and long. You'll notice that there is a O2 outlet on that side if you got a patient on the bench seat. There is some storage space underneath. Pretty roomy. You could put a hair traction splint, Sager splint, pillows, blankets, whatever. There's also an IV drawer right there, which is pretty convenient because you could have your needles and your tourniquets, Tagaderm, IV tape, all that stuff right there. The patient's arm would be right there. I just noticed something else I got to tell you about. You'll notice there's a variety of floor hardware. That's because you can put really any gurney in here. All of the strikers will fit in here, but it also has floor mounts for a Furno Model 28 gurney, which requires a completely different antler system. So whether you have a Furno or a striker, any striker, the Power Pro, MX Pro, the Easy Pro, all of the strikers will work in here, as well as all of the Furno Power Flex series. Even some of the older Model 35 and 28s will fit in here also. So that is the back of this. Let's go look at the cab and close this up. Is there anything else? I think I covered everything back there. Alright, so here is our driver's door. The pocket is still there. That's amazing, right? I mean, that's always busted off. And then you can see the floor, the stepwell, everything looks great. The upholstery is in fantastic shape. There are no tears. The armrests are not broken. There's no head grease on the seat. The headliner is in mint condition. A little bit of fingerprints on the visors, but no pen swipes. No, you know, a lot of times it'll start fraying along the edge and start drooping down and hanging down. Nothing like that over here. There's a spotlight in case you want to look up an address outside or something like that. There's also a charging station for a Streamlight light box radio. Light, not radio. This is aluminum top. If you want to mount radios on there or, you know, cut out to put in there, you can do that. There's also filing there in the center. Oh yeah, the door, there is this is considered a walk-through, so you can, it's got a full-size door. So if you got a patient going crazy back there and you want to get away from them and get up here, you can do that. So let's get in and we'll start going over some of the stuff. We have AM/FM radio. You know, you might need some Code 3 music while you're doing that. Here's our AC or heat. That's on vent. And then we got the speed selector. It's on high. There's 2 medium settings and low. And this is our 152 mile unit. And then this is our thermostat. So it's on cool. You can put it on hot. I'll go through the, that's normal AC, max AC. You can hear the actuator door moving. There's the floor, mix, and defrost. Okay, there's that. And then there's no check engine light. There's no service engine soon light. There's no mechanical issues at all here. You can see all the needles are where they're supposed to be. And you can see the mileage there, 152,938. I think I said it had 153,000 miles. It almost does, so I'm just calling it 153. And then, let's see, our power windows. Okay, so you got, you know, there's that one. And then if you look at the mirror over there, I'll go ahead and see the mirror works. There's nothing drives me more crazy than when the passenger side mirror doesn't work. And then over on this side, we'll do, there's that window. And then continue to look at the mirror. I will move that. You can see that up, side to side, up, down. And then, let's see what else. Got all of our emergency stuff. Well, you know what? I hate to do this because we just washed this thing, but let me just show you. It's got the windshield wipers with the spray, and then of course you've got, you know, super fast, million settings in the middle, and then, you know, slow. It has cruise control. I can't really demonstrate that. That works. And then our Ford horn, and then I guess we'll get into this stuff right here. So here with the wheeled coach, what I really like is each kind of light has its own switch. So you got just your front light bar, the rear light bar, the warning lights, the rear flashers, the quarter strobes, high beam flashers. You can just have all of that set, so you don't have to go flip, 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 flip. You can just have all of it all ready to go, and then you just hit the master, and then boom, everything just goes on. The lower bank is the non-emergency stuff. So you got your right flood, your left flood, your right scene, your left scene, which might seem like there's a lot of floodlight stuff. There's LED and halogen out there, and then the rear load light. So, and then you got your siren. Let me just crack my door real quick so you can hear that. There's that. Yep. And then air horn. Got the PA system, which is this guy here. Testing. You can hear that. So let's get out and look at the lights real quick. And okay, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. We got, you know, the halogen floods, which are good if you're just, you know, you just need to light your pathway for your gurney or whatever. If you're doing more extrication stuff or something, this light's really bright. and you know, it's still pretty light out, so you can't tell, but once it's dark, that thing lights up a huge space. But it's kind of intense, so, you know, so you'll see. Let me back up more. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. So in the grill, we've got white and red LEDs, and they flicker back and forth from white to red. One thing I need to mention, I notice a lot of times when I'm editing my video that my shutter speed on the camera can't keep up with some of these LED lights, and it looks like they're not even flashing. Everything is flashing, so if it looks like something isn't flashing, it is. It's all flashing. So there's that. The siren speakers are in the grill. I really love Wheel Coach's grill too. I don't know, that just, you know, it doesn't date it as much, you know. I mean, these are 2003, which is the last year of the 7.3, I might point out. But I love the Wheel Coach grill because it's not like the old Ford grill, you know. So there's that. So you got the front fenders have LED red LEDs, and all of these lights are programmable. If you don't like what they're doing, I can change it for you, or you can change it. It's pretty easy to do. And then there's quarter panels. In the back, we've got and then you know, these are LED too. So you got LED turn signals, LED backup lamps, and then the brake light and running light is LED. That you can program these to do that, like a double flash before they go solid, or a single flash before they go solid. Right now they're just set to go solid as soon as you step on the brake. So we got rotors on the outside. The front light bar is rotors also. You got those amber flashers in the middle, and then those clear lights are the load lights. Those aren't normally on, but I have the switch on so you can see they're all working. And then that center red is a third brake light. That's why it's not on. So there's that. And then over, sorry about the sun. Let me get this from the front so we're not facing the sun. And then you can see everything's working over on this side too. Looks great, man. I love this red with the chrome. Really pops. All right, let's go look at the other one, and then we'll go for a test drive after we finish going through all of that stuff. Let me just turn all this stuff down. Look at that. Is there anything that we didn't look at in here? I think we looked at everything. I don't know. If I missed something, let me know. I can always make an addendum video. All right, so here's this Mamma Jamma, and it's beautiful. This has 187,000 miles. You wouldn't know it looking at it. Oh yeah, and there's no rust. Let me just do that real quick. Let's just look under here before we move to the next one. Feast your eyeballs on the no rust. Fantastic shape. The tires are in great shape too. You can see there's deep tread there. You can see the leaf springs back there. No rust. Get in there a little bit. The frame, no rust. See up in there. Everything looks marvelous. You know, I'll tell you the one thing that bums me out about this thing. Is it this one? No, it's the other one. The headlight. Look at that headlight. It's real fogged up on the driver's side. Drives me crazy. I'm a little OCD that way. I would have replaced that had I noticed it sooner. But maybe I will. By the time you call and you inquire about it, maybe I've already replaced it. Bam! All right, there's that. So let me back up and on this guy. So everything's exactly the same. So let's just go into it. This is the oxygen compartment. You can see there is that. There's a little cage down the bottom. Oh, you know, I didn't show you that. They both have air horns, and there's a foot pedal on the floor. Let me just go back over here and show you real quick. I don't know if I have to put the key in. See that foot pedal? I don't know. Yeah, the key has to be in. Let me see. Well, you know, if the engine were running, it would be a little more, but you know, there's just, I'll show you on this one when we get this one fired up. So that's why there's a little cage down at the bottom. It's just protecting the electronics that are in there, so you don't touch it or whatever when you're changing your tank out or whatever. You see, there's the regulator.